Today on Commander Replay, we take our first look at Akiri Fearless Voyager and find out what happens when we draw a few key equipment. Next on Commander Replay. Hey guys, if you want to do one-on-one deck review sessions with me or get your deck list played on video, be sure to check out the GoFundMe link in the description below. Welcome back everyone, playing some Akiri Fearless Voyager today, taking my first look at it. And let's take a look at this opening hand. No equipment. There's a lot of equipment in this deck. I think this is going to be a mulligan. Only 2 lands, although one's a Boros Garrison. Pure Steel Paladin's cool. Aurelia's cool in the late game. Some other stuff that is nice, but I think just not what we're looking for. Yeah, I like this a little bit better. There's a Mask of Memory. So that's going to be card draw. There's 2 board wipes. A Boros Charm. To give us indestructible from those board wipes. Also, Akiri's own ability can give us indestructible, so that seems good also. I think I like this a little better. We got more consistent land drops. We've got card draw equipment. I think this should be pretty good. So yeah, playing Akiri Fearless Voyager. It's 1 red-white for a 3/3. It says, whenever you attack a player with 1 or more equipped creatures, draw a card. And by the way, that ability will trigger for each player that you attack, so you can potentially draw up to 3 cards a turn if you attack with 3 equipped creatures. And, pay white, you may unattach an equipment from a creature you control. If you do, tap that creature and it gains indestructible until end of turn. Pretty sweet, gives us a way to dodge our own board wipes, which I really like. I think that will probably be the underrated mode of this card. Like, I think it'll be very good, but I think for a lot of people, it will get lost in the fact that it does say draw a card on a Boros creature. So I'm very excited to check Akiri out. I know there's been a lot of hype for it. So yeah, we'll see what it can do for us today. That's a Soul Ring off the top. That's going to make this hand a lot better. Play this command tower, play Soul Ring, and we're on the play. We are going to be ahead. And play the Mask of Memory. Pass the turn. Next turn we can go Akiri, equip Mask of Memory. It's going to be pretty good. Turn after that, we are drawing some cards. Dismal Backwater for opponent. Gains a life. Just lands for our opponent. Brings it back to our turn. That's a Fervent Champion. Cool. I don't think we're going to need it just yet, but soon. Soon. We need 2 colored mana, so play the Plains. Play Akiri. Put Mask of Memory on Akiri. And we'll pass like that. So one thing that I'm noticing just now, if you have a turn 1 Soul Ring or potentially even a Mana Crypt, I think that does make cards with Equip 1 a little bit more valuable. There are a lot of cheap equipment that aren't normally good enough for most decks that I'm very interested in trying out for Akiri, because if you're getting the card draw on top of whatever small effect those cards give you, I think they may be good enough. Let's go take a look at some of the cards I'm talking about right there. So here's my pile of cards that I'm testing out for Akiri, and a lot of these are cheaper equipment that you wouldn't normally run most places, but Paradise Mantle I think is interesting. 0 cast, 1 to equip, can tap for mana, so you can turn a creature into a mana dork if you want to. Sai of the Shinobi, +1/+1, but whenever a creature enters the battlefield, you can attach it for free. That's kind of cool. Explorer's Scope, if you reveal a land when you attack, you get a land onto the battlefield. It's okay, some people run it, like some Feather decks run it, but I think with Akiri's ability to also draw, I think it gets much better, and that Equip 1, I think going to be relevant. Infiltration Lens, I think maybe a little bit less good. I don't know, I gotta get a look at this one. Your opponent has the choice to choose whether they block or not. If they do, you'll draw 2 cards, and that's kind of cool. But my initial thought is that this one might be a little bit questionable. Trying out Nahiri, Heir of Ancients, just because I was able to get one today. We'll see how it performs if it comes up. We've got Leona Chikari, which I think is a really cool card. It just barely doesn't make a lot of lists, a lot of other equipment decks, so I think it'll be really good with Akiri's ability because of the ability to re-equip at instant speed. And then finally, Tome of Legends is one that I've got a question mark on it. Do you need Tome of Legends if Akiri's drawing cards for you? That's a question that I hope to answer at some point, so maybe we'll get some answers today, maybe we won't. We'll see. More lands for our opponent. That does bring it back to our turn. We get a Scavenger Grounds to play Sunhome Fortress of the Legion right here. What are we doing next? Maybe just go on the attack. Ooh. Geist of Sade Traft opponent missed their land. Ouch. Well, that being the case, we'll at least poke into Chaotix. Chaotix is thinking nope. He's gonna 2-mana Rift. Akiri back to the hand. Doesn't want the card draw. Doesn't want us to draw cards. Rude. Rude, KO. Well, that being the case, recast Akiri. 2 colorless floating, re-equip the Mask of Memory. We'll have 1 floating. Can't do much with it. Pass the turn like that. Fabricate for opponent. Let's take a look at what our opponents are playing today, by the way. First up, we have Zombie Caller 42 piloting Sharuum the Hegemon. This is going to be S for Artifact combo. There are some really good Sharuum decks running around. I told opponents to bring stronger decks today because we've got combos in our deck. I'll talk about those in a little bit. But yeah, we do have combos, and if we run into the combos, the game can end pretty quickly. So, you know, I would say right now, in its current setup, and or once this setup is like fully tuned and we figure out which cards we don't need, I would say that this is probably going to be like a turn 7, turn 8 kind of deck. You might occasionally be able to run into like some turn 5 or 6 wins if all the mana rocks are on your side and things like that. But I'm estimating this to be a pretty good turn 7 deck. We'll see if it lives up to my expectations on that. But anyway, that being the case, Sharuum the Hegemon, if they are bringing a strong version of it, can do some wild stuff. Has been a good commander for a very long time, though kind of got outshined by Brea a little bit. But yeah, there's going to be some artifact combos in there, things like Time Sieve and some other stuff. Take extra turns, Scour Glass, generally really good in that deck. Ew, opponent misses another land drop. Ouch. Seems like they probably should have mulliganed a little better or something. I don't know. If I had a loot, I would loot for them, but I do not. We'll poke into the Sharuum right here. KO gonna crack his Myriad Landscape, sure. Swing into Zombie. Akiri's gonna draw us a card! Card draw number 1. It's a land. Probably loot that land away unless we draw something we don't need. So we hit with the Mask of Memory. We'll draw 2 cards. Yeah, that seems pretty good. Alright, loot this Plains away. We got 2 fetches in our hand, which seem pretty good. And we got some stuff. Yeah, okay. So let's play the Windswept Heath. Play Sword of Fire and Ice. Play Fervent Champion. Free equip the Fervent Champion. And then I'm going to try to get Misveil Plains with this Windswept Heath if we don't need to do anything with the protection effect from Akiri. I suppose we also have a Boros Charm, but, you know, Akiri's ability doesn't require us to use a card, so that's nice. It does require a little bit of mana to be able to re-equip your thing, generally, but we do have this Fervent Champion also, which is really cool. Here comes a Solemn Simulacrum into play for opponent. That will slow us down just a bit. It is a blocker. We'll see if KO's got a blocker that he can dump in there also. I guess we can shoot it with the sword, which I might. Continuing on our opponents, by the way. Next up, we have Cadox 2075 piloting Riku of 2 Reflections. He said there was some weird theme for this deck. It was like horses or something like that. I don't know what he's doing. We'll see what he's got for us. But Riku is a really strong commander. Riku says, play creatures or spells and double them. Doubling all of your game actions is really powerful. Target player shuffles their library into their graveyard, draws a card. Targeted himself. Yeah, he hit his land drop. It's turn 4. Still no green, though. And he's got to be careful of the Fire and Ice, because Fire and Ice can just shoot Riku. Losing Riku is like a big tempo blowout. Riku, it's good, but it's slow and has very low toughness for a 5-drop, so does get crushed kind of easily. There's a tap land for the Geist of St. Traft, so if they can get going on their lands, they may not be out of it if some removal starts flying and they can catch some ramp along the way. And finally, Holy War is piloting Geist of St. Traft. You know, not one that I've seen a lot of in multiplayer Commander. It does show up in 1vs1 Commander, where it can be pretty good. You play it as a blue-white control deck in 1v1. Just a lot of tempo and kind of aggro people down with Geist, and maybe a few equipments in there as well. Not sure if that's what they're doing with this list. It sounded like it was a bit more casual. Told them to add a bit of removal before the start of the game, just so our deck doesn't run away with it, which we're starting to do a little bit. I mean, you know, there's plenty of things that can stop us, but opponents got to put some removal on us to slow us down here. Oh, that's a Feast and Famine. Well then. That's kind of ridiculous. Yeah, opponents are tapped out. Play a Feast and Famine. Free equip a Feast and Famine. Akiri over to Holy Wars. Fervent Champion into Chaotix. Fervent Champion gives another target knight +1/+0. I don't think we have any of those. We get to draw 2 cards with Akiri. Wait. It was only 1. Shouldn't it be 2? Yeah, I don't think that triggered right. I think it's broken. Or that wording is working differently than how it should be working. I don't know. I'm pretty sure we were supposed to draw 2 right there. Sword of Feast and Famine, Sword of Fire and Ice will trigger. Shoot the Solemn Simulacrum. Lands on tap. Oh my god, we just drew a Sunforger. Hit with Mask of Memory. Draw 2 cards with the Mask of Memory. Loot. Discard the Plains. I think this game's almost over. Play Bloodstained Mire. Crack Bloodstained Mire. Get Plateau. If we go Sunforger right now, which we should do because we have free equips, equip the Fervent Champion. We could do this to play Gideon's Sacrifice, free equip it again, and then we're 1 spell short. We can win the game next turn, I think. We might need a colored mana to do it. No, we can use Feast and Famine. If our stuff holds up, we can win the game next turn. Vampiric Tutor for opponent. Fervent Champion, a ridiculous card, by the way. There's a Toxic Deluge X7. Yep. Teferi's Protection time. Free counter could get us. KO says hacks. Yeah, I'm telling opponents, we've drawn perfectly this game. Like, I just don't know how much better you could draw than what we've done right here. Like, we've hit the land colors exactly when we needed them. Soul Ring off the top, Feast and Famine off the top, into a Sunforger. Like, what? That's just going to be rough for opponents. You need a lot of removal, a lot of counter spells to stop what we're doing. I don't think you're going to have this kind of experience every time you play the deck, so keep that in mind. But things are looking really good for us right now. Swiftfoot Boots for opponent. I'll mention it now. That's a Mana Crypt for opponent. That would be good. They need some removal. Opponents need instant speed removal to stop what we're doing. We'll see what they can do with it. But one thing that I wanted to mention, I touched upon it a little bit when I did the deck tech video for Akiri, but I want to talk about it a little bit more explicitly, is that I think if you're running Akiri out of the command zone, the best way to build this deck is as a combo deck. By itself, Akiri doesn't give you a lot in terms of like being a good Voltron commander. It's not going to have huge damage output for you. Akiri is the engine, not the finisher, I think is the way you want to look at it. So however you want to win the game, if that's creature combat, if that's combo, that's all fine and good. I just don't think Akiri is necessarily your first plan for actually trying to get lethal on your opponents. Akiri is the engine that you use to find other things to get you to lethal. So, and I just wanted to touch upon that point. And sure, there will be some situations where, like, late in the game, not much out on the table, you drop a Blackblade Reforged, and sure, Akiri will kill some players. But by itself, its stats aren't really something that scream, I'm going to win the game with damage on Akiri. So I really do think you play Akiri as a combo deck. Pick your favorite Boros combos that you want to use. And if you need a reference of some of those, I do talk about them in the Akiri video. I'll link that in the description below. But in all likelihood, I think we're going to see one of our combos right here. So free equip this Sunforger. A little bit of mana up for our opponents. Could be scary. Let's go Boros Charm. Give our stuff indestructible. Pay a red and a white. And then if we're able to untap our lands this coming turn, we play Gideon Sacrifice and Arc Bond. And that should be the game. Actually, we should do that now. Because we need damage on a creature. Okay, so yeah. Use Sunforger. Play Gideon Sacrifice. We're going to choose Akiri. Free equip the Fervent Champion. Go to combat. Try this again. Send this over to Holy War. Send this to Zombie. Fervent Champion trigger. Akiri trigger. Oh, someone's got interaction. That's going to be a Swords to Plowshares on our Fervent Champion. That's bad. That's actually really bad. That will mess up the combo. Was worried about that. We don't have any mana. Shit. Yep, alright, I guess that's going to happen. Fervent Champion gets exiled. We draw a card. It's Kazul's Toll Collector. Nice. We hit with the Mask of Memory. Draw another land. Oh, man, we got so many good things in hand. It doesn't look like we need that many board wipes. Not that many creatures on the table, so we'll discard a route. Looks like we've already played a land. So now we just equip a bunch of things onto Akiri. Put the Sunforger on. We're out of colored mana, so we can't, like, do all that much in this moment, but it's fine. It's fine. That does take down our combo, though. And I have actually had some trouble with this combo. It's been a little bit harder to get this going than I anticipated. I tried it in an Aurelia deck the other day, and the one thing I didn't have going is that I didn't have any damage to get going on my creatures or on ourselves. So if you're planning to run the Gideon Sacrifice, Arc Bond, Boros Charm combo, you will want to have a few extra lands in your deck that do damage to you when you tap them, because you need to get damage to either yourself or your creature to start the loop. In this case, I was going to use Sword of Fire and Ice to do that, and the way it works is, once your creature's indestructible, Gideon Sacrifice says all the damage that you would take goes to the creature, and then Arc Bond says whenever that creature takes damage, it deals that much damage to each creature and each player, so it just creates an infinite loop of damage. And now we're going to have to do some things to get that back. It's not going to be too difficult because of the Feast and Famine. As long as Feast and Famine sticks, we're in good shape. Oh! KO timed out, so he's gone. Sharuum coming into play. Yep, going to get back the Solemn Simulacrum. I was worried about that. That is why I didn't discard these Scavenger Grounds at any point. I'm sure we'll be needing that if we aren't able to just end the game very soon. We've also got this Return to Dust. Return to Dust on Solemn and Sharuum doesn't seem awful, but if we can't just end it, we may need to plan for a slightly longer game, and we might want to have that removal around, so. Geist of St. Traft into play, yep. Denitha coming into play, yep. So it looks like they're doing an equipment thing over there. We see Sigarda's Aid into play, Denitha, so Voltron, Geist of St. Traft. That's a Heliod's Intervention. Play this Marsh Flats. Crack this Marsh Flats. Oh, you want what we could have did? Oh, I know what we can do. We can go about this a whole different way. I was trying to do the Arc Bond combo. We've got way better options. Get the Sacred Foundry in. Untapped. Equip these swords. We do need to get past the Solemn Simulacrum. Equip the Feast and Famine. That's going to be an important one. Akiri's got 11 power. That's not awful. That is not awful. Play this Heliod's Intervention. Yeah, X1. Opponent draws a card. Go to combat. Swing into Zombie. Akiri trigger on the stack. Activate Sunforger. Cast Enlightened Tutor. Get Aggravated Assault. We probably could have just did this last turn. I was trying to make the Arc Bond thing work. It's been tough to make that work. You got to get it like everyone tapped out. You need a bit of mana to do it. This is just more compact. And opponent scoops are right there. Yep, they know what's coming. Fire and Ice, Feast and Famine, Mask of Memory. Fire and Ice on the Denitha, Feast and Famine, Mask of Memory. We'll discard a land. Feast and Famine will trigger. Fire and Ice triggers. Denitha down. And opponent scoops it. Feast and Famine, Aggravated Assault, bringing us home. Yeah, it's been harder than I really wanted it to be, trying to get this Gideon Sacrifice combo going, but someday we'll get to live the dream. Yeah, we just drew perfectly. Like, if you let me stack the cards on top of my deck any way I wanted, it would probably look something like the way we drew in this game. So that was insane. Didn't really see any of our test cards, so bunch of question marks still right there on all of those. But hey, we know Feast and Famine Aggravated Assault still works. Still a great way to end a game. One thing to think about, if you don't run the Gideon Sacrifice combo, that does leave more spots for creatures in your deck. My creature count, a little bit lower than I wanted, 17. I was really hoping to get to about 20 to 22, and that just didn't happen once I started adding all the stuff in, especially with all these test cards. If we can cut a few of these, that's a few more creatures we can get into the deck. So I really think this deck probably wants to be around 20 to 25 creatures. If you're planning to do a lot of combat stuff, if you're going full combo, then you don't need to run as many creatures. You just need things to help you get to your combo. So it just depends on how you want to play the deck. But yeah, just perfect draws in this game. Like, just the Christmas land of Christmas lands. So, yeah, that all led to a turn 7 win, even through a bit of removal from our opponents. So, yeah, I'll definitely be playing this one again. Be sure to stick around for game 2. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching. Hey guys, in addition to my TCG affiliate player link, I now have an affiliate link with Flipside Gaming, an LGS from my hometown. You can use the promo code REPLAY to save 10% on your next order over $10. Both affiliate links are in the description below. I want to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. We have 2 new Patreon supporters in Matthew Mewborn and Jonathan Santos. You guys are awesome. If you want to help support the channel and vote on which decks I play next, feel free to check out my Patreon at the link below.